Hello. Do your houses look like this? Small, old, useless, an eyesore on this beautiful landscape? And even if you try to upscale it, even try to add it to the most expensive material, it still doesn't look good. Hello, my name is Maximi123 and I'm here to make your house from a zero to a hero. Using some simple steps, we can make the house just look a lot better. Okay, so the first tip we're going to talk about is the shape of your build. The shape of your build is one of the most important characteristics of your creation. So it's important that you get this right before you go on to the other steps that we'll be talking later in this video. Using the shape to make your build much more interesting, it's not as hard as it looks. Firstly, it's better to stay away from squares and rectangles that you're seeing on screen being built. But this is a good start, as it can then be changed or modified to make it just a little bit more better, as you're going to see soon right now. Okay, firstly, we're going to cut into this little part here to add some more shape to it. And we're just going to add up to this little bit here, as you can see, very easy. And bing bang boom, we just made the shape a lot more interesting, a little bit more better. It's easy as that. And it's all about shape. Ha! Psych, we're not done with shape. After all, it is a three-dimensional game. Why we let out the third dimension? We only talked about two-dimensional. Now let's talk about a more vertical height of shape. All we have to do is wait for the floor to be done so we can talk about the shapes and stuff like that, and squares and rectangles and you know, all that kind of things. This is too boring. I'm done. Okay. Bam! Magic of editing. The basement's done. Bam! Magic of editing. First floor is done. Bam! We've done the roof because of the magic of editing. Okay. Let's freeze frame here and then talk about what we did over those magic of editing cuts. Okay. I'm only going to go over like general tips and like little things that you can do to help your build. Firstly, we have a little balcony located here, which just adds a little bit more like elevation, where you can look out into the world with a little bit of elevation. And here we have just a new roof. There are many types of roofs, many tutorials that you can look at. So I've gone for a little bit more of a medieval style, which works with the wool and the other things that I am building with here, which is a good thing. And around here and on several other places of the build, I have put little like overhangs, which just adds a lot more shape and variation over the different levels of the build, which are just it's little things like that, which makes the build a lot more better. All right, let's unpause this video and talk about our next tip, which is going to be detail. Okay, this is just going to be a small little clips here. I'm just going to talk about small strategies that you can do to make your build just a little bit better. So here I'm putting in stained glass instead of regular glass. You can use any color. And over here I've got a little cool flower bed that you can put in window seals. Here I'm at the bottom putting iron bars, and you can put some little things over it. And just little tips like this, little like trapdoors, little campfires even. Campfires are really good, and I'm putting them as like little covers over the windows. So just little things like this gives the building more depth and many things like that. And also we can add some mossy cobblestone to add some little texture to the blocks. And I'm adding a little, I guess, banner kind of to the front here. Just little things like this makes the build just a little bit better, adds depth, and there's tons of videos you can look online. And I'm just showing you a little bit that you can do. And they're super easy and not that expensive. I chose these ones specifically, the easy ones. And yeah, That's detail, very short, but let's go on to our next tip, which is going to be color palette. Okay, the color palette of a build refers to the amount or the types of blocks that a build uses that normally contrast or work together well, such as woods and stones. We're going to be talking a bit about that. On screen right now, you can see some color palettes right next to their respective builds and see how they affect each other. Though largely color palette is up to the person's opinion on what blocks look good, I can give you some tips on how you can make your own. To create a color palette, you can start with blocks that you think look good. Then grab other blocks that you think look good and see if they work together. Continue this process until you have enough blocks that you feel like can create a build. Though, if this is not working and the build isn't just looking good, there's tons and tons of builds that you can just grab the blocks from those and use those as your color palette. And we'll just look up many other videos to get a greater explanation. As this is not a very in-depth tutorial, it's more of a beginner's guide to tell all beginners on tips that they need to make a good build, and if they want to improve, they can then further research on the specific tips that I am talking about. Though talking about color palette, this will be a great segue into our next tip that we're going to be talking about, which is using the environment around you. There are two ways that you can use the environment around you for your own build. One of those ways is to use the surrounding resources, such as the type of wood or other resources that you can use for your build. Using this can help your build as it will better blend in with the environment as evident in the build that you're seeing on screen. And you got the second way that you can use the environment around you, which is using the surrounding landscape. This landscape includes hills, cliffs, and surrounding water, if that is a river, lake, or ocean. Though with the builds that you're going to see on screen, there are some exceptions with the resources tab that we were previously talking about. As some environments, their resources do not mix with their builds, such as the swamp and the oak. They just do not mix, and I feel like that spruce makes a much better job at that. This seems to be all the tips I have for you. Let's just do a recap. We use shape for an easy way to create depth and structure in a build. We use color palette to create visually interesting builds with blocks that strike emotion for you. And we use the environment to help with your color palette or to help create a world and build your creations into the world. Thank you for watching my video and making it to the end. If you want to subscribe, you can, and also like the video. It would be cool to get likes because I'm not used to getting likes because I spent a lot more work on this video than any of my others. So thank you for doing that, I guess.